While out with her friends, she laughed. He's too scared to ever leave me. He'd fall apart without me. They all nodded. I just stayed quiet. The next week, I accepted a job offer in another city, packed my things, and left without a word. Weeks later, when she finally came back ready to beg, she froze because someone else was already living in my place. The final nail in the coffin of my relationship wasn't hammered in with a dramatic fight. It was slid into place with a quiet, confident laugh in a noisy, crowded bar. My girlfriend, Jenna, was holding court with her friends, a circle of women who seemed to think life was one long brunch special. I was on the edge of the group, nursing a beer, playing the part of the silent, supportive boyfriend. It was a role I had perfected over our 2 years together. They were talking about another couple's recent breakup. The guy had apparently been a mess, and Jenna's friend was saying how pathetic it was. That's when Jenna chimed in. She took a delicate sip of her cocktail, looked over at her friend, and gestured vaguely in my direction with her glass. "Oh, that would never happen with me," she said, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "He's too scared to ever leave me. He'd fall apart without me." She laughed. Her friends all nodded and laughed with her, like she'd just stated the most obvious fact in the world. They looked at me, not with malice, but with a kind of pitying certainty. I was the safe bet. The quiet, introverted guy who worked from home and didn't have much of a social life outside of her. She was the sun, and I was just a small, insignificant planet caught in her orbit. I didn't react. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just stayed quiet and took a slow drink of my beer. But inside, something went still and cold. It was the kind of clarity you get right after a car crash when the noise stops and you can suddenly see every piece of shattered glass on the pavement. She didn't just think I was dependent on her, she was proud of it. My perceived weakness was her source of power, her ultimate security. For 2 years I had arranged my life around her. I'm a senior data architect for a major financial firm. It's a complex, high-pressure job that I can do entirely remotely. I'm naturally a quiet person. I prefer a small circle and deep conversations over loud parties. She had mistaken my quietness for weakness, my preference for staying in as a sign of dependence. She saw herself as my entire social world, my connection to a life I was too timid to build for myself. In that moment, her words didn't just hurt me, they freed me. She had handed me the diagnosis of our terminal illness. And I am, if nothing else, a problem solver. I stayed for another 20 minutes, playing my part. Then I leaned over, kissed her cheek, and told her I was tired and heading home. She just waved me away, already deep in another story. "Okay, babe, don't wait up," she said, not even looking at me. I walked out of that bar, not as her dependent boyfriend, but as a free agent planning a hostile takeover of my own life. She thought I'd fall apart without her. She was about to find out I was the one who had been holding her up the entire time, and I was about to walk away and let her collapse under her own weight. She thought I was too scared to leave. She had no idea I was already gone. Update 1. It's been a week. 1 week since I walked out of that bar and into my new life. To Jenna, it's probably felt like a week of me giving her the silent treatment, a childish tantrum she was patiently waiting out. In reality, it was the most productive and decisive week of my entire life. Thanks for the comments on my last post. You guys who said to go completely dark were right on the money. No drama, no confrontation, just quiet, systematic erasure. The first thing I did when I got home from that bar was open my work laptop. For the past year, I had been turning down offers from headhunters. Recruiters were constantly reaching out with opportunities in other cities, major tech hubs like Austin, Seattle, Raleigh. I always politely declined because I was building a life here, with her. One recruiter in particular, a guy from a top firm in Austin, had been persistent. He had an offer for me to lead a new data infrastructure team at a rapidly expanding fintech company. It was a massive step up in both responsibility and pay. I found his email from 2 months ago. It was 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. I wrote back, "Hi David, hope you're well. Is that director position in Austin still on the table? If so, I'm interested in discussing it further. Best, Alex." I got a reply in less than 10 minutes. "Alex, great to hear from you. It is. Can you talk Monday?" While Jenna was sleeping off her cocktails, I was preparing for the biggest career move of my life. The interviews happened over the next 2 days via video conference. They were intense, technical, and exactly the kind of challenge I loved. By Wednesday afternoon, I had a formal offer in my inbox. The salary was 40% higher than my current pay, with a substantial signing bonus and equity. I signed the contract and sent it back within the hour. My start date was the following Monday. I had 5 days to move my entire life to another state. This is where my skills in logistics came in handy. I work with complex systems all day. My own life was just another system to reconfigure. First, the apartment. I own my condo. I bought it before I ever met her. She paid me a small amount for rent each month, a fraction of what it would actually cost, which she usually spent on clothes and brunches anyway. She had no legal claim to the space. Next, I called my younger brother, Matt, and his wife, Sarah. They had gotten married 6 months ago and were living in a cramped apartment an hour outside the city, struggling to save for a down payment on a house. They are two of the best people I know, hardworking and completely devoted to each other. I called Matt and put it to him straight. I'm moving to Austin for a new job. I'm leaving on Sunday. I want you and Sarah to move into my place. The furniture, the TV, everything is yours. Live here, rent-free, for as long as you need to save up for your own house. Just pay the utilities and the HOA fees. It's my wedding present to you. He was speechless. He thought I was joking. When he finally realized I was serious, he got emotional. He and Sarah came over the next day to see the place again, this time as their new home. Seeing the joy on their faces, the way they looked at each other and planned where they would put their things, it was one of the best moments of my life. It confirmed I was doing the right thing. Then came the packing. I hired a long-distance moving company. I only packed my essentials, my clothes, my books, my computer equipment, and a few personal items. Everything else, the high-end furniture I'd bought, the top-of-the-line kitchen appliances, the 75-inch OLED TV, I was leaving for Matt and Sarah. I had the movers pack up all of Jenna's things. Every last piece of clothing, every shoe, every makeup palette. It all went into boxes. I rented a storage unit a few miles away and paid for 3 months in advance. I had the movers take all of her boxes there. During this entire time, Jenna was sending me a steady stream of texts. They started as annoyed. Are you still pouting? Then moved to angry. This is so immature, Alex. Just talk to me. And finally to slightly concerned. Okay, I'm getting a little worried. Are you okay? I never responded. I put her on mute. On Saturday, the day before I left, I did the final cleanup. I had all the locks on the condo changed. I wrote a short, simple letter. I put it in an envelope along with the key to the storage unit, the access code, and the address. I also included a cashier's check for the total amount of rent she had paid me over the past 2 years. A full refund. I didn't want a single dollar of her money. I left the envelope with the concierge at the front desk of my building, with instructions to only give it to Jenna personally. On Sunday morning, the movers came for my things. Matt and Sarah arrived with a U-Haul of their own boxes an hour later. I gave them their new keys, walked them through how the smart home system worked, and showed them the bottle of champagne I'd left for them in the fridge. We hugged, I wished them well, and then I was gone. I drove my car 1,000 miles to my new life in Austin. I didn't look back. Jenna thought I was too scared to even argue with her. She has no idea that I just dismantled our entire life and rebuilt a new one 1,000 miles away, all without saying a single word to her. She thinks I'm still in the city, sulking in my apartment. She's about to get the biggest shock of her life. She thinks he'd fall apart without her. He didn't. He just left. Final update. It's been a month since I moved to Austin, and it's been the best month of my life. My new job is incredible. Challenging, rewarding, and full of smart people. I found a great apartment downtown, and I'm starting to explore the city. The silence from my old life has been deafeningly peaceful. But I knew the storm had to break eventually. It did, last night, and I got a front row seat to the aftermath courtesy of my brother Matt. He called me around 10 p.m., his voice a mixture of amusement and disbelief. "Dude," he said, "you are not going to believe what just happened." He then relayed the story of the past few weeks from his perspective. Apparently, Jenna finally went to the apartment building about 3 weeks ago after a full week of me being gone. The concierge gave her my letter. Matt said he wished he could have seen her face when she read it. Her world, as she knew it, had evaporated. She went to the storage unit and found her mountain of belongings. She tried calling me, but my number was already disconnected. She emailed me, but I have a filter that sends anything from her straight to the trash. She was locked out, cut off, and completely in the dark. According to a mutual acquaintance who was still talking to her, her first reaction was rage. She told all her friends I was a psycho who had a breakdown and vanished. She played the victim card hard. But the narrative started to fall apart when her friends realized she was suddenly homeless and broke. The free dinners, the fancy apartment, the endless river of my money. It was all gone. And without that, she wasn't as interesting to them. She had to move in with one of her friends, a temporary arrangement that was clearly straining. She apparently spent weeks trying to figure out what to do, all the while building up this story in her head that I had just done this to punish her and that I would eventually come crawling back, because after all, I couldn't possibly survive without her. That brings us to last night. She finally decided it was time to play her final card, the tearful, begging apology. She was going to show up at my, now Matt and Sarah's door, ready to cry and forgive me for being so cruel, ready to take me back and fix everything. Matt said they were watching a movie when there was a loud, insistent knock on the door. He opened it to find Jenna standing there. She had clearly prepared for this moment. Her eyes were already red, her face was set in an expression of tragic sorrow. She had her whole speech ready. She didn't even look at Matt. She just looked past him into the apartment, expecting to see me. "Alex," she began, her voice cracking perfectly on cue. "I know I messed up. I was wrong. Please, can we just talk? I'll do anything. I can't live without you." Matt, bless his heart, just stood there, completely baffled. He's a big, friendly guy, and he had no idea who this strange, crying woman was. "I'm sorry," he said. "I think you have the wrong apartment. My name's Matt." Jenna's face froze. The performance just stopped. She looked at him, really looked at him this time. Then she looked past him again, and she started to notice the little changes. The wedding photo of Matt and Sarah on the entry table, the different throw pillows on the couch, the pair of women's shoes by the door that were definitely not her size or style. "What?" she stammered. "Where's Alex?" "This is his apartment." "Oh, Alex is my brother," Matt said cheerfully. "He moved to Austin a month ago for a new job. He's letting my wife and me live here while we save for a house. It was incredibly generous of him." At that moment, Matt's wife, Sarah, came to the door to see who it was. She's a sweet, down-to-earth girl, the complete opposite of Jenna. She smiled kindly at the confused woman on their doorstep. Matt said the look on Jenna's face was something he would never forget. It was the look of a person whose entire reality had just been fed into a wood chipper. The story she had told herself for weeks, that I was close by, pining for her, waiting for her to come and save me, was a lie. I wasn't in a corner, falling apart. I was 1,000 miles away, thriving. I hadn't just left her. I had replaced her life in my apartment with a better one, a happier one, for people I actually cared about. The final brutal blow was the realization that I hadn't just abandoned her. I had given away the entire lifestyle she thought was hers to my brother, for free, as a gift. The home, the furniture, the life of comfort, it was all still there. She just wasn't invited to it anymore. "He's in Austin?" she whispered, the words barely audible. "Yeah, he loves it there," Matt said. "He's doing great." Jenna just stood there for a long moment, completely silent. The fake tears were gone, replaced by a blank, hollow look. She had built her entire sense of self-worth on the idea that I was weak and she was strong. In one conversation, on one doorstep, that entire foundation was obliterated. She wasn't the one in control. She was just an inconvenience, a stranger at the door of a happy couple's home. She didn't say another word. She just turned around and walked away. Matt told me he and Sarah felt a little bad for her, but mostly they were just amazed at how thoroughly I had planned my exit. I hung up the phone and looked out at the Austin skyline from my new balcony. I felt nothing for her. No anger, no pity, not even satisfaction, just a profound sense of peace. She had predicted I would fall apart without her, but she had it all backward. I had to leave her in order to put myself together, and I've never felt more whole.